Hi there, this is Jacob Nash, Algebra Lessons, and this is Unit 7, Lesson 10, on exponential word problems. Sorry, almost knocked a clock off my wall. So, just like with most units, we have, of course, some word problems, but it's not that bad because at least you get equations. So when there's things like this, all you have to know is, in the word problem, figure out what things they're telling you. They give you a bunch of values, you assign a letter to them, and then you plug them into the equation, you get your answer. Pretty simple. But these are two equations we can use to find out amounts, like typically in currency, I guess. So the first one, we have A equals P times 1 plus R over T, all to the power of NT. Okay, that looks kind of dumb. Well, maybe it does seem dumb, but it's kind of useful in certain situations. A is the final amount. Typically, that's what you're going to find, but you might be asked to find other things. So it's like, you do all these things. What's the final amount of money in this person's account? P is the initial amount. So, like, you put in $500 one day, whatever, starting with. R rate, that's the rate. So, like, there's a 7% interest that can add or take away from that. And then T is the compounded per year. So if you're doing it for 6 years, you can say 6 is T. And then N is number of years. And if you're doing it like in that case, then you could just say, or actually, sorry, I got that backwards. Compounded per year, that's the value per year. And then N is how many years there were. If it is compounded continuously, so if T is continuous, then use this one instead. A equals PE to the RT power. A still is final amount, P is still initial amount, R is still rate, T is still compounded per year, but E is constant, and we've talked about that. It's just like the pi thing. It's not like you need to know what E is. E is not going to be given to you because it's just a value that there is. You just push the E button on your calculator, and it's like pi. Like, you just plug that in. Like how there is pi divided by T, 2pi r for values of a circle. So here is our problem that we're going to look at. Calculate the final amount. I'm just going to highlight every value that there is, and then we'll assign letters to them. Calculate the final amount. Well, this isn't a number, but we already can tell that's what we're being asked to do. If the starting amount was $1,780 with 8% interest over 2 years, if compounded yearly. So, final amount is A, starting amount is P, interest is R, 2 years means N, and then yearly, that's T. Okay, so final amount is what we're trying to find, A. P is $1,780. R is 8%. Now we don't want to keep that as 8%. Hopefully you know how to convert it. Percent, you just move the decimal back 2 points. So 0.08. T, that compounded yearly, so we can say 1 yearly. Over 2 years, so 2. Okay, now let's put our equation in here. Let me look at it quick. So we have, I'm just going to copy it back down over here. T to the NT power. All right. Okay, so let's plug in our values. A we're trying to find, so we'll just keep that there. P, 1780. 1 plus R divided by T to the NT power. 2 times 1. Now, we could just simplify that, but I'm just going to... Well, let's do that, so it'll be easier to put in the calculator. So let's just simplify that to 1780 times 1.08 to the second power. Now let's type that into the calculator. 17.8 times 1.08 to the second power. And we need to round to the nearest cent. It doesn't say that, but obviously there's no like, oh, crack a penny in half, like, so just round. The answer would be, with our units, is dollars. Let's assume that because it says dollars there. $2,076 approximately. Well, and I guess you could say and 19 cents. If I said round to near cent. That's the answer. Now, it also says, what if it was continuously, so that we can see what it's like to use that equation. A equals pert. Pretty much you can say. Okay. If it was, we still know that A was, we need to find that. P is still the same. R is still the same. T is still the same. And E is always that value. So we're going to plug in our values now. P times E, I'm not going to write that whole thing on there. And then this to the power of 0.08 times 1, which is really just 0.08. So let's plug that in. 1780 times e to the 0.08 power. And instead, we get, if it was compounded yearly, instead there would be less. $1,928.25. So that is how you do word problems for exponential functions. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.